Dello heavy-duty engine oils. Proven engine protection at prices you can rely on, giving you even more reasons to choose Dello. Hi everybody, welcome back to Equipment World. You're watching The Dirt. I'm your host Brian, and today we're here to talk to John Deere about the rollout of the new P-Tier series of compact track loaders and skid steers. And I don't have all the details, so we're going to talk to our product expert and get to the bottom of this. Can you start with just a breakdown of what P-Tier machines are being brought out in this series?
Absolutely. So we have 5 new models launching with this program. 2 skid steers, so I'll start there. We have a 330 P-Tier and a 334 P-Tier. So that 330 is kind of an upgraded version of what you would have previously known as the 330 G series. And then that 334 is really a brand new class of its own, purpose-built beast of a machine. And then we move into the compact track loaders, the CTLs. We have 3 models there, so the 331 and 333 P-Tier. Again, those are going to be upgraded versions of those 331 and 333 G series that the market knows and loves. And then we're also introducing the brand new 335 P-Tier, which again is in a class of its own, beast of a machine, and that thing's got a lot of power, really purpose-built for some heavy-duty attachments.
Awesome. So for the existing machines that are kind of moving to the P-Tier series, can you give us an overview of some of the modifications and changes that have happened?
Absolutely. So all 5 of these machines are going to have a brand new cab. And I think this is the thing that I am most excited about because you notice it the second you sit down in that machine. The cab is larger and it's also a one-piece cab. So it is sealed and pressurized. You're not going to get a lot of dust and dirt in there, only what you track in on your boots. And it's also very, very quiet. Once you get in there and you get that door shut, you get the thing going. It's kind of an almost peaceful cab. It is completely redesigned from operator feedback is the other exciting part, right? We listened to operators, they told us what they wanted, and that's exactly what we've got here. So new seat, a 20% improvement in visibility, which is great. You know, skid steers and compact track loaders, compact machines, they're all over the place, and being able to see out is really important on a job site where you've got people and equipment and supplies kind of everywhere sometimes. We've got a new radio in there, hands-free calling to keep in touch with people on your job site. And then we also put our larger sealed switch module in there. So that 25-button SSM that you see in things like our larger wheel loaders, you're getting now in the compact equipment as well.
Okay. So now you feel really familiar if you're familiar with the John Deere ecosystem.
You do. You very much do. Yep. The other thing is we've upgraded the hydraulic system on those machines. So the 330 and 331 both have a new hydraulic valve. They're going to get more power out of that. And then that upgraded 333, as well as the 334 and 335, all have pressure compensated load sensing, or PCLS hydraulics, which is an exciting upgrade, and it's going to let the machine really meet the demand of whatever you're doing with it in the most efficient way possible. We also made a few updates related to attachment usage, redesigned the quick attach, thicker steel, straight pins instead of tapered pins, and then we've added a couple larger hydraulic couplers on the front of those larger machines as well.
So you piqued my interest a little bit with the, what was it? what was your acronym? I forgot it already.
PCLS, pressure compensated load sensing hydraulics. So essentially,
okay. Break that down for me.
Yep, yeah. The hydraulic system is going to meet the demand of whatever it is that you are doing on the front when you're running these really high demand attachments that need high pressure, high volume, high flow of that hydraulic oil coming through. This machine is smart enough to know what you need and meets that need instead of just relying on the RPMs of the engine to determine kind of your hydraulic power going out to that attachment.
Interesting. So that actually is a perfect segue into my next question. We're starting to see more and more technology kind of come into these machines instead of it being the old school machines with just everything is manual and mechanical. So that being said, what sort of tech features are we going to see rolled out in the new P-Tier machines? But before we get into that, I want to take a second to tell you about the sponsor of this video, Chevron Lubricants.
These cranes work around the clock for months at a time. If one of these engines ever goes down, it costs more than our reputation. Switching to Dello 600 ADF, it's been a game changer. We've had no issues with clogged DPFs. I mean, no regen lights, no cleaning, no replacements, nothing. This oil goes beyond anything we've ever used. I choose proven protection that keeps our cranes on the job. I choose Delo 600 ADF.
What sort of tech features are we going to see rolled out in the new P-tier machines?
Yeah, there's a couple different types of technology we're integrating in here. The first one is a surround view camera system. It's a 270-degree view with a dedicated monitor, so you've got a really good idea of what's going on around you. We've also got Attachment Manager. So as I talked about that pressure compensated load sensing hydraulic system, Attachment Manager, which is in our advanced display in these new machines, is really going to take the guesswork away from the operator when you're putting on a new attachment. You're going to go in there, all of the John Deere attachment portfolio is preloaded. So you're just going to select what attachment it is that you just put on the front of that machine. And the flow and pressure are going to be set automatically. And your control pattern on your right and left joysticks and all the buttons and controls on the top of those are going to be optimized for whatever type of attachment it is you're running.
Beautiful.
It's incredible. It's a really impressive system.
Yeah.
Takes a lot of guesswork out of it. And it really helps operators when you're running some of these more intricate attachments, right? You think a cold planer. There's a lot going on there, a lot of different controls. To automatically have your control pattern set up perfectly to run that attachment, it's a game changer.
Yeah.
And then the final big piece of technology is going to be getting into that grade management side of things. So slope indicate is going to be standard with that new advanced display on the 334 and 335, optional the other machines, of course. And that's just an indicate system to tell you the cross slope and the main fall of that machine. You just kind of want to know where you're sitting or maybe which way the water's going to run if you're doing landscaping work, stuff like that. And then we kind of have a building block approach. So we go from there to what we call 2D slope control with SmartGrade ready. So slope control being kind of your 2D local type setup, which is ready to upgrade to SmartGrade, which is our 3D system and similar to what we've had on previous models.
Gotcha. And so on the 2D system, is that going to be indicate only, or are there going to be any sort of automatics associated with this?
It is a control system. So you can get the 2D control, so it will hold a slope for you as you're going. You just set what you want, you can go. So there is control with that one. If you want just the indicate, you really just need that slope indicate system.
Yeah, interesting. So for those not familiar with John Deere's kind of in the cab ecosystem, what is SmartGrade? Can you break down some of the capabilities there?
Absolutely. So SmartGrade is John Deere's fully integrated, meaning a mastless 3D grade control system. So that is a system within the machine, really heavily software based, and it's going to take satellite information coming down from a satellite network, as well as data off of the machine itself, a lot of those in-cylinder sensors that tell you exactly where the machine is sitting, but kind of relative to itself, right where your blade is relative to the machine. It's going to put all of that together, and then as an operator, you would import your job site plan, so exactly what your topography is and where you want to end up. The machine, the system, is going to take all of that and put it together, and you can then automate your blade movements of that machine to get down to whatever your site plan is. So this technology you're going to see on motor graders and crawler dozers, and we've moved it now into our compact equipment as well. So the old 333G series had SmartGrade on it, and in these new machines you'll see that on the 333 and 335 P tiers.
Awesome. It's really nice to see some of those features starting to move down into the compact equipment lineup. There's a lot of contractors on kind of the lower end of the industry that haven't really gotten to get their hands on that technology just because it's not been available. So glad to hear it's coming out on these newer machines. So that being said, I've also been reading that you guys are dropping some attachments with the P-tier series machines. Can you go into some of those attachments that are being released?
Absolutely. So there are 3 that we're bringing to market specifically with these machines, because the larger end of these machines, the 333, 4, and 5, have all of this extra power that we haven't had access to before. So we've got the ability to run these really powerful attachments with those new machines. So the first one is going to be the CP40G. That is a cold planer. It is going to be just like the other 3 cold planers we launched earlier in the year, just 40-inch working width, right? So a lot of power there. And the really cool thing about that is we've paired with the Wirtgen Group, one of our subsidiary companies, and we've integrated their expertise in milling into this attachment to bring it to the compact equipment world. Incredibly powerful attachment. You can get a lot of work done. And again, with that attachment manager setup and a lot of the new features, it's incredibly easy and intuitive to run from the cab as well. From there, we've also got 2 more mulching heads that we're introducing. So the MH72D, it's just going to be a larger version of our existing MH60D. And then separately, we've also got that MH76 mulching head. That has a depth control rotor on it, so it's going to kind of control how much of a bite you can take, which is going to make it great for that really dense, stringy vegetation we get in certain parts of the US and other markets. It's going to power through. You're going to get a really fine chip size. And again, you can just power through a lot of vegetation with that very quickly.
Yeah, excellent. Just out of curiosity, on those 3 attachments specific, because we are talking the heavy duty, high demand attachments, are these machines geared that they're going to need a hydraulic cooling package kind of purchased to run those attachments, or is it geared to run those right out of the box?
It is geared to run those right out of the box. So that 334 and 335 especially, I mentioned, those are purpose built for this type of attachment. This is really, really where they shine. So they've got upgraded cooling packages that are coming right out of the factory. That is just part of what you're getting. They come to you perfectly spec'd, ready to run those attachments.
Awesome. That was the answer I was hoping for. Well, Emily, thank you so much for all of the information on the new P-tier units, and we'll see you back here soon.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Well, thank you again for John Deere coming on the show to talk to us about the new P-tier series of CTLs and skid steers and all of the fun things that go along with them. As always, I hope this helps you in your business. We'll catch you on the next episode of The Dirt.